Good morning, my brother. This is Reclaiming Authentic Christianity. So I'll be asking you questions that border on rape. So, what do you think rape is to you?
Well, I'd say rape is a situation whereby a man or a member of either sex forces their own um, sexual desires on somebody else, on the member of the opposite sex. I'm not being specific about the gender of the person because rape can actually be from either sex. So it's a situation more or less whereby a man or a woman forces their own um, sexual desires on
Excesses.
excesses on somebody else in order to satisfy their own selfish urges.
Okay, thank you. I noticed that the first case of rape in the scripture is found in Genesis chapter 34, verse 2. That is on Dinah. That is
The one where
the daughter of Laban by Shechem.
okay,
So, if you notice what really happened, emphasis was not in the pain of Dinah in the scripture. Do you understand?
yes, I understand.
Although now you look at the consequence of that rape, where the brothers rose up, Simeon and Levi, they rose up and destroyed Shechem. So I want to ask you, do you think emphasis by the community is being made to protect rape victims? Now I'm talking about both sexes, both male and female.
Well, I would say in our society, especially this African society, rape is not really treated as a serious matter. It's treated
As a
with
crime.
yes, exactly. It's not treated as a crime as such. And I would say it's mainly because of all boils down to um, gender inequality in the end, whereby people still see the man as being too superior and that he can go away with anything that he does his action. Because if we should be pragmatic, rape is an offense that is mostly committed by the male sex. So I would say rape is not giving enough how do I put it,
Attention.
attention exactly as it should be given, because it's actually a problem that it's not just the victim that ends up suffering from the effects of rape, but more or less the society at large. Because by the time let's say a society whereby, like, oh please, I'm still out of context.
Continue.
Okay.
By the time, I believe what you are trying to say is that by the time society also begin to victimize them, like instead of defending the rape victim, so now the society is looking at it that, okay, it's your fault. This is what we hear.
Stigma.
Yes, they stigmatize them, and then now most rape victims don't even want to voice out. They just carry the shame, even some to their grave. So I now want to talk about rape in the family. We find out that although all these cases are not mostly reported, but we find out that stepfathers defiling their daughters, or even sodomizing their sons, their stepsons. There are cases like that. We find out that aunties in the family raping their own young boys in the house. Are you getting me now?
Yes, sir.
So a case like that happened in the Bible. That is Tamar, you understand, with her stepbrother Amnon, when he fell sick for her for his lustful desires, and then he asked his father, he acted on the counsel of his wicked friend. Are you getting me? And then he asked David, his father. Now this is rape in the family. Tamar was begging him and asking him that, please do not act like a fool. But then he still went ahead. Okay, what can you say about this in the family? Because we noticed that David did not actually do anything to punish Amnon. You understand? So now in the family, you find out that, okay, when situations like this happen, you find out that people are saying that we want to protect our family name, our family image. We don't want these excesses or this rape issue to be out. And then the victim is dying inside. The victim is becoming is being even hated by the family. Why the person that inflicts such pain is moving around as a free person. So now, what is your take? Do you think our families should allow their children to open more to them? Like our parents, some of our parents do not even want to listen to anything sex or anything that has to do with stuffs like this from their young children. Although the young children are actually facing a lot, they are going through a lot. Some of them are being molested by their teachers, and they don't have that confidence to approach their parents. Some of them are being molested by their Sunday school teachers. These are real cases I'm discussing with you. So now, do you think our families, our parents are not doing enough to see that these dirty situations are being curbed?
Um, I'll use myself as an example. Growing up, I never even, when I was in primary school or so, I never even had an idea of what sex was all about. It was even when I remember back then, if we're watching TV and they are showing kissing scenes, my mom would ask us to close our eyes to them and pretend like we're not watching. Sometimes we'd even peek through self and all. So that idea, or the idea of sex, only became like something I was familiar with when I entered the GSS. That was in secondary school, and I didn't say it away to the father. I said I began to move it back from nearly two. Before I now we're now taught in class under topic reproduction and all. So I would say I was just lucky. Many people get to learn about this the hard way. The funniest thing is that these rape cases I'm talking about, they often happen within the house, like you said, or like you cited. It could be the uncle. Hey, my child, how are you? Before you know it, the uncle begins to molest the child, and the child doesn't know how to respond because he or she has never been spoken about on what to look out for or potential rape situation, and so the person ends up becoming victimized, and the person might not know how best to explain to their to their guardians that they are going through this kind of situation and all. So I'd say parents should become more conscious of their children's moods, friends, company, and even they should be watchful of the so-called uncles and aunties and how often or how intimately they relate to their children.
Okay. Now I want to ask you this question, although I'll be skipping some questions because of time. Now I want to ask you, what do you think should be the punishment of rapists?
Many people would agree that rape deserves the capital punishment, that is death. Even in some countries like the UAE, like some regions like the UAE, yes, the capital punishment for rape or any form of sexual related assault or
harassment
is normally death by the act.
Actually, Deuteronomy chapter 22 verse 25 made it glaring and clear that if a man is caught raping a woman, he should be stoned to death. So now you as an individual in this society we find ourselves, sometimes this rapist, you find out that they rape the victims, they kill them. Like these Yahoo boys, they rape them and they end up killing them, in fact cutting part of their body for whatsoever thing they say they are doing. So now you as an individual, I want you to air your view as a man. What do you think should be the punishment to rapists?
First, I would say that I don't believe the capital punishment that is death should be inflicted on the rape victim.
Okay.
Because in as much as rape is a very big problem, I feel like it's no different from the many other problems that we have in society, which, if we should look at, also deserves to be severely punished. For
and
example,
now we're actually concentrating on this issue.
On rape.
Yes. What should the rapist, what should be their punishment? Should we just let them go free? Let's forgive them and let them continue with their life while the victims are suffering for life? The lifetime pain has been inflicted on them. Should we just let them go, or should we just say that okay, it was a mistake? I want you to just air your view. What is difficult for you, right?
Not really.
Okay.
But rape is not. I would say rape is not a mistake per se, because you deliberately do this thing. Did you mistakenly?
So what is the punishment for such a crime? We believe you've said is a crime. So what is the punishment you think should be inflicted on these criminals?
Well, when you rape somebody, it's as good as killing a person, more or less, because you have destroyed the person's mental stability, and in fact, psychologically, you have killed the person already. And in fact, in many rape cases, the rapists often end up killing their victims. So perhaps the capital punishment is what rapists do deserve, because it's something that is actually inhumane. Yes, it's a inhumane act, like for you to force your own selfish sexual desires on somebody else.
Okay, I want to end up with sharing this story with you, and then I would like to hear your opinion. So, preparing for these questions, I actually watched series of videos, and I read through documents that has to do with rape. And there is this woman, I think she's from is it South Africa? She was going to church in the morning. They have program in the morning around 5 o'clock. She did not want to go late, and she went to church as early as that. As she was going early in the morning, a man approached her with a machete. Although not, she did not know that he was holding a machete. But she waited. She think this is a protector because it was still there. And she waited for him. Immediately he came close to her, he drew the machete and put it on her neck. And she told him that she's going to church. Whatsoever thing you want to take from me, please just take and let me go. He said, no, he's not taking anything from her. He said, he's not taking anything from her. And then he led her to a very secluded place, and he raped her there. She cried and begged him, I'm going to church, please, just let me go, please. You understand? And he did not listen to her plea. He said, because you are going to church, that is why I will not kill you, but I will rape you. He raped her severally. After raping her severally, he sodomized her. Do you know what it means to sodomize somebody? He used the anus. He inflicted pain both from her vagina and from her anus. He inflicted pain on her. And she, in her confession, is that she just died. So, like now, after hearing this case, what do you think that man deserves?
He has killed her, more or less.
That woman, her trust in God was dead. He just destroyed her life.
Which is why I still stand on the fact that rapists deserve capital punishment, but in as much as they deserve capital punishment, based on our own Christian beliefs and all, we still have to tamper justice with mercy, in the sense that
do you think
see rape as more of a mental issue, more or less? Because okay, wait,
no, just go on. Do you think we should castrate them? Since the organ that is inflicting pain on others is their manhood, do you think we should castrate them and just render that instrument useless?
Now, if we should consider castration, basically, now the organ, more or less, is not exactly what makes one rape. It's not from the thought,
without
from
it,
the mind.
yeah, even if
it
you
means
have
that
the
we have to cut off the person's head too, because that's where the whole idea of rape even starts from the first place.
Even if you have thought of it, without the organ, you can't do anything. Do you understand where I'm going? The perspective I'm looking at it from. No matter how imagination you have, without the organ, I don't think you can have the urge. So actually, this is a very sensitive topic, and it's a very painful one. I've seen people traumatized. I've seen people attempting suicide. I've seen people useless that think that their life has been taken from them. I've seen 14 years old, 9 years old, read documentaries, watched documentaries of little children like that being sodomized and raped. There's this popular preacher, Jessimia. Before she could come out of it, it took time. In fact, she hates anything called man. And that's why sometimes when you look at women, you are trying to approach them, they just see you as another potential rapist. So we are trying to come together, create awareness. Victims should not be victimized in our society. Victims should be given all the respect they need. Victims should be protected. The perpetrators of this act should be held accountable, and justice should be served. And the society should support these victims in healing. So this is what we are voicing out. Institutions, strong institutions should be created against rapists. And rapists should be publicized. They should be publicized. Everybody should see their dirty and ugly faces to protect others. So my brother, what is your name again? Olafemi, thank you very much for your views. We really appreciate it. God bless you. So thank you. To these questions very briefly. What do you think rape is? What is the meaning of rape to you?
To me, I feel rape is the forceful, like, relationship, like forceful sexual intercourse between a man and a woman.
What of you?
Okay, to me, rape is when opposite sex, when they forcefully have a sexual intercourse with each other.
What of you?
To me, rape is when you are not giving the opposite sex your consent before engaging he or she.
Okay, thank you very much. All of you said something very important that I want to pick point. You said sexual intercourse. Must somebody have that intercourse before it becomes? Must somebody have that intercourse before it becomes rape? To me, I think any harassment, any assault, whether you have the intercourse or not, that is, you are assaulting such an individual. Right? So do you think somebody must, I want to see your view, maybe you still stand with that view.
Yeah.
Must somebody have that intercourse before it becomes rape?
No, I feel it's any type of harassment.
What of you?
I'm saying here.
What of you?
Same as you.
Okay, the next question. Do you think the society protects rape victims?
Yes, I think so, because there are a lot of organizations that go against rape and
Okay, what of you?
Okay, it depends on the setting the individual that was raped is. You know, not everybody might have access to this non-government, and not everybody will be able to voice out what they've passed through. So in some way, the society is not helping.
What of you,
So
sir?
I also say that that society is not really helping, because when the victim has been victimized, and it now depends on the person to tell, is it the right or the wrong person? So once the victim also falls into the wrong person, that's another problem on its own. So that means I think there's not enough education on the right space actually. So society is trying on their own actually. NGOs, there's many organizations, women organizations to keep to actually curb these menace. But on the other part, the victimized one, they are not educated enough.
Okay, you know, we find out that even the society sometimes victimize the victims.
Yes.
Okay, maybe a lady is being raped, you start hearing that, what is she doing in his house? Just because I go to your house, that does not give you the license to rape me, to molest me and destroy me. Okay, just because I'm wearing any form of dress, although not wearing any form of dress is not good, but just because I wear any form of dress, that is not a license, that is not a consent, right? So, and then the society, instead of helping the victims and not victimizing the victims, asking foolish questions. To me, it's a foolish question. Somebody is already going through psychological problems, somebody is already molested, somebody is already going through things, and you are asking the person, what type of clothes do you wear? That is foolishness. So now, do you think, I want to ask your view again, do you think the society is actually helping?
on that aspect, I feel they are not really helping. And I feel what most people need is enlightenment. They need enlightenment. Some people now, they fast through a lot. Like, if you even ask them, most of them, they don't even want the law to take over the case, because they just like leave it and let God just take control. Because you know, most time it's just means, especially if the other partner is like maybe has undue influence, maybe he's like
an authority over the victim.
Over the other victim. So even if the person is at fault, you're so sure that that other person is going to win the case. So why waste money?
What are you?
Okay, to me the society is not helping us.
Okay, I think that is what you've said earlier. What of you?
Yeah, the society is to try to educate teenagers, especially ladies, that they should not be.
Actually, men also are victims.
Yeah, men also are victims. Yeah, and also it depends on the culture, like family, each person.
Okay, I have two questions to ask, and then we round up. Okay, you notice in the case of Tamar and Amnon in the scriptures, where he took advantage of her, she was even crying that place. You know, this is a family issue. So you notice that brothers are molesting sisters, aunties are molesting even some people that should be like their children. I've seen cases like that, where an auntie is forcing a young boy to do whatever thing they do. We have seen elderly ones molesting young children, small children that are do not even have the characteristic of a female already. So now, and these young children, sometimes they find it difficult to open up to their parents. And you see this trend continually happening in the society. You understand? You see, okay, maybe they sent her to her uncle, or maybe it's the pastor. It happens in the church. Just last week, I read in Lagos, a man who claims to be an apostle is sleeping with two men, two young boys. He said he wants to transfer anointing to them, and the anointing must be transferred through that rubbish. And these young children were under that suffering for long because they could not voice out. So now, do you think parents are close enough to their children for them to be able to voice out all this type of emotional damage?
I feel for a child to like speak out, that person will have to be in a kind of relationship with the parents. Like now, for instance, I have a friend of mine that she's always saying that her aunt used to tell her child, and the child is still like 3 years old. But like right from the way she's small, it's always like nobody must touch you, nobody must. Like I feel that kind of child, whenever she faces that kind of problem, it will not be a problem to her to reach out to the mother. So I feel parents should find a way to create a relationship.
And parents should let their children know that he is your uncle, right? But there is a limit he can go, maybe. You understand? What of you?
Okay, to me on this issue, parents have a major role to play. They have a very, very major role to play because the children they are coming out from their homes, either to the society, to school, anywhere they are going to. So they should first of all learn from home. The parents should make sure that on sex education they take that lectures, they give those lectures to their children.
Practical lectures.
Yes, they make it very, 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 very a thing of importance to them. Then whatever they are hearing in the public become an addiction. And even if they are hearing heresies in the public, they'll be able to come back to confront the parents. That is, the parents should have a relationship with the children so the children will be able to have a good mind.
Yes, you know, sometimes you hear that, okay, is my uncle, is my pastor, whatsoever, and whatsoever thing he does is correct, is true. And then the children cannot confront their parents. They believe that this man cannot do this wickedness. So what is your thing?
My own view is that, you know, like there's this stage in which when a child is rich, he or she will not be able to voice out to his parents. He or she will take advice from his folks. So the best thing is that the parents should know the peers in which their children are into.
Walking around.
Yeah, walking around with you. So those ones, they'll be in the best position to ask them because the child might not be open enough to the parents. It's only the friend, it can be a wrong friend that gets advice from. So when the parents know,
because Amnon actually took advice from his bad friend. So when the parent know the kind of friends his or child moves with, then he or she, the parents will know the way to come along him. Okay, the last question: what do you think rapists deserve? Rape perpetrators, what do you think the punishment? Actually, Deuteronomy 22, if I'm not wrong, actually said the rapist should be stoned to death. So like you now, as an individual,
I think that's the best answer. They should be stoned to death.
They should be killed.
I feel they are not human.
They are not worthy to live, right?
Yeah.
What of you?
Okay, I would like to look at it in another view. Okay. Actually, I would advise to maybe death, but looking at it in another view, you don't know what the rapist, although that doesn't justify what the rapist has done, but there can be like a rehabilitation. That's why we have some rehabilitation centers, even for the victim and even for the rapist himself. You don't know what he or she has passed through.
Maybe he's a victim and then trying to inflict pain, but we're actually trying to break the cycle. Even if you are a victim, some victims try to get their way by committing the same crime. They feel relief. What of you?
Yeah, I also go with what she said, that there should be a kind of juvenile prison, or maybe like a prison, or maybe they should be exile for some time so that they can to learn their lesson.
Okay, do you think rapists should be publicized? Their pictures, they should snap them, put it in the public?
That's actually victimizing.
Yes.
Actually, by the time
maybe it's going to serve as a
Lagos State is actually doing that now.
Yeah, that's it. It's going to serve as, because there are a lot of people that are in hiding that they have not seen their face. But if they can like see the punishment that other people are getting, it can. It's not like,
Okay, thank you very much. You spend more time than I actually envisaged. What's your name again?
Ellen.
What of you?
Rachel.
What of you? Okay, this is reclaiming authentic Christianity. I will ask you, please, you can help us with subscription on the channel. Thank you very much. So actually you've heard from people their opinion concerning this issue, and we actually want to see our parents, we actually want to see the institutions, we actually want to see the community coming together to protect the victims. We should not victimize them. I've been saying this for a long time. We should try to protect them. By protecting them, we give them a smiling face, we hug them, we give them the love they deserve in that moment while they are passing through such pains. Thank you very much. What is your name? Timileyin. Okay, this is Reclaiming Authentic Christianity. So I want to ask you some series of questions that has to do with rape. So you, what do you mean? What do you think rape is?
Forceful sexual
harassment or assault. So to you, what do you think? When do you think a man has crossed his boundary? Maybe a friend or a teacher or a father or a whatsoever, as a lady. When do you think such an individual has crossed his boundary as regarding this topic?
I think it depends.
Can you just come up louder?
I think it depends from person to.
Yes, that's why I'm asking you as a person.
I think when I feel uncomfortable.
Okay. Maybe the way the person looks at you, touch you, or whatsoever. Are you getting me? Then probably you feel uncomfortable, right? So I want to ask you a question. Do you think the society is really doing a lot to protect rape victims?
No, because most of the time don't. And people are ashamed to say it because other people will start.
Please, can you speak louder?
People are ashamed to say it. Because most of the time, if you wear a rape victim, some people will start saying, what did she wear? What did they will not look at the real issue.
The perpetrator,
yes.
The rapist.
Most of the time is what did she wear? What is she wearing? What did she do?
What is she doing in his place?
Yes.
So actually all those things are not an excuse for any person to inflict injury on another person. We have seen fathers raping their daughters. We've seen even little children being raped by adults. These children that do not even have female, like all the attributes are not there, but yet they still inflict psychological pains on them. So what do you think rape perpetrators, what do you think should be their punishment?
Jail time.
Speak louder.
Jail time.
Okay, do you think actually in the Bible, the scripture makes us understand that rape perpetrators, rapists, should be stoned to death. So do you think a rapist should be killed?
It's tough, it's hard. Because if you see it from the person that he did it to, from a person's side, it's not that easy to like forgive or forget. It's not easy because it's something that will damage your mental health for like lifelong.
Okay, I want to ask you, I just have just 2 questions more to ask you. But please, I want you to speak louder so that our audience will be able to hear your view. I thank God I'm interviewing a lady. So now I want to ask you, you look at it in a family cycle. Children are even afraid to confront their parents with such issues. Probably their elder brother, their senior brother is engaging them in illicit acts, in molesting them, but yet they don't have that confidence. It happens in the scripture actually, when David sent Tamar to Amnon and he slept with her. He defiled her. The scripture said he raped her and he hated her afterward. So now, what do you think within the family, an uncle is molesting, it's more like a daughter. What do you think parents should do more to protect their children?
I think they should try to become their children's friends, so it will be more easy for the child to like walk up to his parents
and talk and make it known to them that this is what I'm actually passing through. Okay, Uncle Labaja is actually doing things that should not be heard.
You should not shut
Auntie
them down.
Labada is doing things that should not be heard. You know, rape is not only male inflicted something, even female can inflict such a thing. So I want to ask the last question again. As an individual, how do you think the society can come in to help these victims? Because the society is victimizing the victims again. They are saying, what does she wear? That to me, that does not really count. Even if a woman is naked, that does not mean you should rape her. If something is wrong with you, you have a self that should be put under control. So that has nothing to do with maybe she wears pants and she's walking naked on, or she comes to your house, she eats your food, and that is a license for you to have your way with her. For the sense, intimacy, sexual intimacy should be what? Mutual. The lady should agree and the young man should also agree. And in fact, it's even a sin. It should be in the context of marriage. You should not go outside marriage and be having all these worries. So now, how do you think the society can come in, and institutions like police? We've heard of cases where police, a rape victim, we approach police to be protected, and police will be assaulting the person again. That can't you see what? And we've seen cases where a rape victim also is taken to the hospital, and the person, the psychologist that should attend to her, is assaulting her, is asking her a question. Do you think, are you responsible for these cases? So now, how do you think the society can come in to protect the victims now? Speak louder.
I think people should start knowing that that people are going to dress anyhow. So it's left for your own self-control too. That you can't say because she dressed this way, then she has the right to anything that happened to her, that's a problem. No. Most of the time, if you even see guys will be saying it, that see the way she's dressing. I'm like, it does not matter. Then if she's dressing that way, then you should have self-control. Because the fact is that people are going to dress the way they want to dress.
Whatsoever way they want.
Then it's you that will now have to have self-control, and people should stop blaming them. They are the rape victim. You now be asking them, what did you wear? It's not. That's not the question. That's not what's going to solve the problem, because it's a trauma, a lifetime trauma.
Okay, what's your name again?
Similar.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Yeah. So you can actually view this content on our site. That is on YouTube, Reclaiming Authentic Christianity. You can subscribe to it. So, dear viewers, we've heard the views of many people concerning this thing. All I'm appealing to the society is that, please, we should stop victimizing the victims. Whatsoever thing a lady wears or whatsoever thing a young man wears is not a license for you to exploit them. It's not a license for you to take advantage of them. So we want to see the society protecting these victims. We want to see the perpetrators reaping the full wrath of the law. For me, capital punishment should be applicable to rapists. And if we cannot apply that, we should remove what is causing the rape in them. We should remove the demon physically by castrating them. Thank you very much. I will see you next week.